Hello and welcome back to One of Us. So in the last video I played a game showing you the basic controls that you'd need just to sort of get you through your first game. In this one I'm going to show a few of the more advanced controls to help you control bigger armies and make things a bit faster for you once you sort of learn the different shortcuts. In the last video I showed that you could drag a box around your units to select them or hold space and select them like that. And if you wanted to change to be able to select non-standard units, you'd hold Alt, which change it to pink, and then you could select things like your harvesters, etc. You can also do the same for air units. So if I'm selecting a big group here, obviously I'm selecting all the ground units as well. But if I hold Control and Alt, it will change to white, and now I've just selected my air units, so I can move those around. So quite good just to be able to quickly change, to be able to select your different units depending on what you want to use at the time. So I can use the keypad on the right hand side of the keyboard to select various different types of units.
Decoy units
so I can
selected.
use 0 to select all my decoy units,
Non-standard
the full stop
units
button
selected.
to select my non-standard units,
Instant
1 to select
damage
anything that
units
is firing
selected.
instantly, so that's bullets and lasers, 2
Projectile
to select
damage
anything that's
units
firing
selected.
projectiles,
Flames
3 to
damage units
select
selected.
anything that's shooting fire, 4
Ground
to select my
units
ground
selected.
units,
Naval
5 to
units
select my
selected.
naval units, which I've got over there. 6
Air units
will be selecting all your
selected.
air units. 7 will be
Infantry
selecting
units
just
selected.
infantry. 8 will be
Armored units
selecting your
selected.
armoured units, things like tanks and things like that. And 9 will be for
Standard
selecting
military
all your
units
standard
selected.
military units. Air, ground, naval, everything all together basically, but not your non-standard units like harvesters. And you can also change the way you control, or the way you select using dragging and clicking, using same sort of system, but by holding Control first, the right-hand control button. So if I hold right-hand control and press 0, now when I select, it'll be orange, and I'm just going to select my decoy units, same with space. And I can change to selecting all the types like that, so I can do Control and full stop, and now by standard just be selecting non-standard units. So normally it'd be on 9, which is standard military, but I might want it on infantry most of the time, so I can have it on military like that, infantry like that. But if I ever want to change back, I can use the same system using Control and Alt on the left-hand side of the keyboard. So if I'm selecting, I'll be selecting infantry here, but if I hold Alt, it's going to do non-standard units instead. If I hold Control and Alt, it's going to do air units. But if I just hold Control, it's going to go back to standard military units. So I can have it on a different one if I want to normally be choosing something individual, but quickly just by holding Control, just change it back to non-standard just for that second while I select something. So that's how to select all your different units in sort of different ways. And we can also add to what we select by holding Shift. So if I put that onto standard again, like so, then if I've got some selected, I might have those units selected, and I want to add some, I can hold Shift. So when I select, if I hold Shift, it won't deselect the ones I had before, but it will also select selected over there. So Shift basically for adding to a selection, and you can do the same on the selection bar down the bottom here. So you can see what I've got selected here: a minigunner, a flamethrower, a rocket soldier, etc. And I've got 5 of the air units, the fighter jets selected. But if I hold Shift, it will add those to the selection. So I've still got the rest of it selected, but now I've got the extras selected as well. So you can sort of make a bigger group depending on exactly what you want to control at the time. So when we've got our unit selected, we can use the Control and Alt buttons again to make them do different things. So if we want to force fire, we can hold Control. It won't force fire onto the ground or anything, but what it does is it stops you from giving them a move command. So if you were clicking and trying to select a unit, you might select near it and not actually on it, and you would accidentally send your units to move there and they wouldn't shoot, etc. So Control is a good way of being able to click and force it to move, force it to attack. Sorry. So here, if I click nearby these buildings, right click, it won't do any attacking. Or it won't do with the moving. It will only do attacking because I'm holding Control. So only when you've got it over something that you will actually attack. So it's quite good. If I tried to attack these harvesters and click near it by mistake, I wouldn't initiate a move command. It would only take it when I'm actually over the harvesters. You can do the same for move. So if I hold Alt, it will only move. So if I was trying to get my units to move over here, if I click on any of the buildings while I'm holding Alt, it won't do the attack command. It will only do it when I do a move, where I'm selecting a bit of the ground where I could move to. And we can do the same for our harvesters. So if I select the harvesters here, if I want to send them to collect some crystals, I don't want to click nearby and accidentally get them to move, and then obviously they just sit there doing nothing. I can hold Control and Alt, and a move command won't be accepted. The only thing that would be accepted would be a command to go and collect the crystals. So I can stop it from accidentally doing the thing I don't want it to do. We talked about last time the enemy has a fog of war on. I've put the enemy on 0 income this time, so it's basically going to sit there and do nothing this time. So we'll have it a bit easy this go. And we've got enemy fog of war here, so we can see where the enemy's been. And obviously it's not been very far in this game because it hasn't got any money coming in. And we could toggle how we display the enemy fog of war using the enter key on the keypad. So at the moment it's on semi-transparent and we can see it, and it's quite useful to us. If we press enter, it goes on full, so it's really obvious where the enemy's been and where we could hide and they wouldn't be able to see us. And we can turn it off. If we don't want it on, we can turn it off. It'll still work in the background. The enemy still can't see where it's not been, but it makes it maybe a little bit nicer to look at if you don't have that on all the time. And you can just turn it on and off for when you want to use it. So that's that. I haven't built a super weapon yet. I've got quick build on here so we can build things quickly. The super weapon we won't be able to fire for 5 minutes though. Basically a super weapon you can fire every 5 minutes as long as you've got enough power and you've got a communication centre built, and the same for the enemy. So that'll take 5 minutes to be ready, and when we want to fire it we need to just make sure we've placed the super weapon beacon first, which we do using the letter N. So
super weapon beacon established.
That's where our super weapons would get launched at. A few different super weapons available for the different factions, but yeah, the standard one's got the nuclear weapon, and that's where it gets fired at. Okay, so next the units all by default are on a defensive guard mode, so they will attack anything that comes nearby, but they won't follow it. And we can see what they are, what type of job they're on by pressing J basically.
Job
so
notifications
job notifications. So the teal means that it will not. It will only be on guard mode and it won't follow anything by default. And we can change what they're on by having them selected. G is obviously for guard mode.
Follow mode
F
enabled.
is for follow mode. So in follow mode, they will actively follow units and try and attack rather than just defend. So yeah, you can use J to turn that on and off to see which one your units are on. So obviously any units that
building
are built here.
Job notifications on.
If I turn the job notifications on, you can see the ones that I've changed there on orange, which is offensive, and these are on teal, which is defensive. And we can change how they come out by using the I button. So if
Initial
I press
job
I,
to follow.
you'll see it change in the bottom right hand corner. So now any units that get built
Building.
are going to be on the offensive mode, they'll be on follow mode. So they will obviously go and follow units as appropriate to try and attack them rather than just defend. Okay, so next one I want to show is the very quick one, which is this quick selection sphere, as I call it, which allows us to select a group of units. We can press L and we can keep that on. Sometimes it's useful. We can press Z and X here to increase and decrease the size of it. But sometimes it's useful just to have it on to see, if you were to move some units or to select some units, that's the size. So you can toggle that on and off with L. So each unit has a range. Obviously not the harvester, but various units in the game have a range. So if we select, let's just select these down here. If we press R, we can turn its range visualizer on, so we can see, the sort of size that it can see, the amount of fog it can clear, the amount of detection it can do for enemy units, etc., etc. So that's quite useful to be able to have that on sometimes, just to see
range visualizers
where units could attack.
Range visualizers
and it's quite useful to be able to see
areas
that you've got covered. So I can see, that area of the map is covered with my units. So that's quite useful sometimes.
Range visualizers off.
We can use the T button. I can't really show it here because we haven't got other units that are attacking. But if we've got our units here and we want to just
looking for targets,
just one time, just get them to stop moving. If there are any units nearby that they could attack, we can press T. It just looks for any local targets and just attacks them. It doesn't stop them moving if they don't find anything, but they will just see if there's any targets nearby and attack them. We can press H, which will basically halt our units, so it just stops them where they are, puts them sort of back onto like a defensive guard. It doesn't change their mode, but it just stops them. And we can press O, which is for selecting all of the certain types of a unit.
Of the same type selected.
It's not so useful now. We've got this selection bar down the bottom anyway. But if we had one of our
other units of the same type
fighter jet selected, for example, and we press O, we can select all the others of that same type of unit. But you could do the same with the selection bar down here anyway, so not so useful.
Super weapon ready.
And I showed last time the veto mode. So if we've got a whole load of units moving, for example, they'd obviously follow our command and do so, even if there was, another unit in the way. But if we put on veto mode, it gives them the option to, override our command, and if they find a target along the way, they'll attack it, and they'll carry on. Once they've finished attacking it, if they're still alive, then they'll carry on moving or attacking wherever we told them to do so before. But if we press C, we can cancel the instruction that we had given afterwards. So once they got to a point of attacking something, they would carry on doing so, but then they wouldn't go and follow on our command afterwards. They would forget the commands that they were supposed to do afterwards. So useful if you had decided to tell them to go somewhere and they overrode your command and attacked something closer, but you didn't want them to carry on afterwards. So I've said about the left shift selecting. So if we've got some units selected, we can hold left shift and add to that using either the selecting on the screen or selecting on the selection bar down the bottom. If we're building, we can hold shift. I think I covered this in the last video anyway, but we can hold shift and queue up 10 units at a time. And likewise with those buttons, if we've got a queue, we can right click to stop that, and we right click again to cancel. And we can do the same using the control buttons, so the F keys. So if we wanted to build the first unit here, we could use F1. So rather than having to press tab and go down here to click, I could just use the F keys to do F1 to F10 for all the units, and then F11 and F12 to repair and sell, just as shortcuts. And you can use control to do the right click version of. So it's a bit difficult to show with quick build on, but let's say we've built a nuclear platform there. Obviously I can right click it to cancel it, or I can control an F10 will cancel it. F10 obviously would build it, F10 would place it, that sort of thing. So I can do that. So I showed selecting buildings as groups. So you could select the barracks here as a group. I could have that as group 1, for example, by doing shift and 1. So when I've deselected it, if I press
Building
1 now,
selected.
It's going to go back and select that building. And we can do the same obviously for units. So if I want that unit to be unit 2, or or a group of those units, I can do shift
Unit
and 2.
group saved.
And now when I've got them deselected,
Unit
if I
group
press
selected.
2 again, that'll get those selected.
Job notifications off.
Yeah, so we can select either buildings as a group or a group of units, and the units can be in multiple groups. So yeah, you don't have to have, it doesn't cancel them out of a different group if you'd added them to another group. So you can group them up kind of however you like. Last couple of bits to show in this video. It's quite useful sometimes to be able to use a couple of shortcuts to be able to see where your units could go. So in this map, it's fairly obvious where your units could go, but to make it more obvious, sometimes when there's like a narrow gap where it looks like units might be able to get through on land or they might be able to get through on water, we can press the delete key above the arrow keys on the keyboard, not the backspace key, but the delete key, and it will show us where our water units could go. So again, quite useful if you've got a narrow little entryway and it looks like units could get through. It's quite good just to be able to use that and just check that they would be able to get through. And we can do the same with insert above it, which is for the ground units. So this shows roughly where ground units would be able to go. So there's a little patch over here, for example, that ground units can't go. That's a bit too low ground. So obviously we can see there's a little bit of water in there, but it looked like we could get pretty close to that water, but actually there's a bit of a gap around it. So if there's a tiny little sliver of land where it looks like you could get through, you can use insert just to see where your units can actually go. But that's it for the video. So thanks very much for watching, and hope that was helpful, and see you in the next one. Cheers.